Hi everybody. So I'm continuing my discussion about co-parenting with a narcissist. And I want to talk about how to actually, protect your own sanity in the process against tactics like gaslighting and just having to deal with a prolific liar. How can you keep your sanity in the process? Because you can't just go no contact. There's a child involved, and that inevitably means you're forever sort of stuck with them. But being stuck with a narcissist doesn't necessarily mean your life is over. Far from it. I've talked about in other videos how to actually turn it around to where you can actually I don't want to say get enjoyment out of interacting with them, but there's a way where you can flip it where you're not so miserable, where you feel in a very competent defense is how I'll word it. So you can find your confidence in developing a competent defense against someone who is a skilled liar and a skilled manipulator. I watched a video last night. If you haven't seen this video, you should definitely check it out. There's a video where a prisoner escapes from prison and is running down the road, and a police officer stops him. And this prisoner is such an incredible liar and actor. He actually convinces the police officer that he's a jogger coming in from out of town, working as a contractor for his brother's roofing company, staying in a hotel just down the road, and that he just comes here to help his brother do roofing. That they come from Dallas. This was in Louisiana, and that they had traveled from Dallas to spend the week there doing roofing. And the police officer asks him, on question after question, and he has the most amazingly reasonable responses. Now, can you imagine how prolific you have to be in the middle of a jailbreak, running for your freedom, and get caught in your own manhunt, fitting the description of you, and lying your way through it? And he did. It's amazing. And if you hadn't known that this guy was actually the prisoner, you wouldn't have questioned it either, probably. He's sitting there laughing, jogging, out of breath, laughing, joking with the police officer, and the officer said, unfortunately for you, you fit the description. And he's a black prisoner. He goes, that's not the first, I think he said something along the lines of, this is not the first time in my life, or something like that, just kind of sort of just a very nonchalant, just dismissal. And it's amazing. He says, well, where'd you get all these scratches on your arms and legs? He goes, from the roofing, it's the shingles and all that. It's like, you don't wear pads. He goes, oh, hell no, man. It's so hot up there on the roof. It's so hot and miserable. You get, they chafe the back of your legs, your knees. That spot behind your knees where you, when you bend down, it's like, they're miserable. You can't wear them up there. It's just miserable one way or the other. And, well, what are you doing? He's jogging. I jogged 12 miles, and he seemed to have I don't know, man. It's crazy. I'm not going to continue talking about it. You should definitely look it up. It's how a escaped prisoner talks his way out of the manhunt. It's incredible. So, when you're dealing with people like this, how do you protect yourself? How do you defend? And how do you keep your damn sanity? Several ways that I've adopted. So we've talked about our family wizard. That one is huge. It goes a long way. But even then, time passes and she still tries to gaslight. She still tries to change her version of what happened. So here's what I do. I regularly go back and reread through my messages. I skim through it. I just click the next arrow a whole bunch until I've gone back, about 3-6 months. So this is usually whenever I get a message, and I call it a lie sandwich. I can always tell when she's lying whenever it's sort of a 3-part message where there's kind of sort of this happy, fluffy beginning part, some business discussion in the middle, and then a happy, fluffy part at the end. And that's usually how I know she's up to something. There's 2 ways to tell your narcissist is up to something, and that's whenever they're being nice or whenever they're talking. All right, so it's usually pretty easy to know when something's up. So whenever I get a message that has somewhat serious implications, the first thing I'd start doing is clicking the next arrow and going back in time and rereading up on the history and seeing where she's changed her version. Now, Family Wizard makes that easy because it's electronic. I don't have to worry about tracking what was said in emails, text messages, work email, and phones. And that's where the narcissist really excels at gaslighting, because they're going to rotate their method of contact with you so they can change versions of what they're saying throughout different conversations. So you have a much bigger challenge when there's multiple channels of communication, because they're going to be very prolific at modifying what they say across the multiple platforms, so you have to be aware of that. What else can you do? Well, save all your text messages. They make backup applications. There's one for Android where it backs up all of your text messages to your Google Gmail account. And the great thing about that is, and I'm on an iPhone now because of work, but whenever I had my Android and before I was on Family Wizard, all of my text messages from her got backed up to my Gmail and got saved in the archives. So it's not there in my inbox. But if I go to the search bar and I type SMS with and her phone number, it pulls all the text messages up. So that's available from anywhere that Gmail is available, and I can go back and read. Well, I could, So having, integrate all of the channels of communication. If you have a Gmail account, then you can, let's say your work email, for example, you can set up an email rule where if you happen to get an email from your ex at work, have it automatically forward to your Gmail. Set up a Gmail rule to automatically archive it and label it. That's the other powerful thing with Gmail, is it can archive and label for you. So you want to consolidate all of the communications to one source, and that's for me that was Gmail. And then of course, if they're emailing you at work, ignore it, reply from Gmail. That should go without saying. I think you can even set it up where your work email just automatically forwards and completely skips your inbox. I'd have to look, but that's the overall goal. Get all of your text messages, all of your work emails, regular emails, all funneling into one place. So what are the last 2 steps that you need to do? You got to address phone calls, and you have to address in-person conversations. So on Android and on iPhone, there's call recorder applications. On iPhone, they all cost money per minute, unfortunately. But on Android, there's some good free ones. You want to record your conversations, and before you do that, and I can't stress this enough, you have got to be familiar with wiretapping laws in your city and your state. So wherever you're at, make sure you research the wiretapping laws. It may not be a bad idea to consult an attorney on it, just to be sure. There's 2 major flavors of wiretapping law. One is one-party notification and the other one is two-party notification. So what the single party is, that's if you're on the phone and you know the call's being recorded, on any recorded phone call, only one person needs to be aware that a recording is happening. Nobody else needs to be notified. Now, it's not like that in every state. New Jersey is a two-party state, which is one reason why spammers and telemarketers and bill collectors love to be in New Jersey, because they can notify you that you're recording, but if you don't notify them that you're recording, then later on you can't use it in evidence because they weren't notified. So that's a pretty clever trick that spammers and bill collectors like to use. And I believe it's the same in California and probably about a baker's dozen of other states. In Texas and in Houston, last I checked, because it's been a long time since I've recorded a conversation. Last I checked, it is only you have to be aware that the call is being recorded. So what does that mean? That means you can record your conversations. You cannot record your children's conversations with the other parent. That's illegal. As a matter of fact, that's a felony. And you will be handing them ammunition real quick because in all 50 states of the United States, I don't believe a single state has a law that supports the concept of wiretapping your child talking to the other parent. That's invasion of privacy. So you can't do that. So yeah, be aware of that. It's a really, really major offense. You really don't want to do that. But you can record your conversations. And that gets us to the last one, in-person conversations. There's another type of app called a stealth recorder, which is a recording app where they have different ways of doing it. Some of them are more configurable than others. They have one where if you tap the power button 3 times, that starts recording audio. If you tap the power button 4 times, that starts recording audio and video. Tap it twice to stop, stuff like that. So they make these stealth apps where you can reach down into your pocket and nonchalantly hit the power button a whole bunch, or you do the shit where you pull your phone out and check the time. You tap the power button several times. You can always play it off like, damn it, like my phone, I hate it. It always lags. I hit the power button, it doesn't come right on. And so then you look like you have a legitimate reason to be pressing your power button a whole bunch. And you can record your conversation. And then if you're smart, put that recorded conversation into your Gmail or Google Drive or Dropbox or iCloud or wherever the hell you keep all of your backups, So that's about all I got. All of these things together will help you have a very competent, effective method of insulating yourself from being manipulated and gaslighted. So to review, you want to consolidate all of your electronic communication or communications period. Consolidate it all down to one repository. If you have Family Wizard, use Family Wizard. If you don't have it, try to get it. If you can't get it or don't yet have it, Gmail's a good one. Create a new Gmail just for managing all of this shit. So then it's not intermixed with your regular email, because it can get pretty cluttered pretty quick. It's so much easier if you have separate Gmail accounts just for managing your relationship with your toxic ex. So much better than intermixing everything. You get your Gmail, set up your work email to forward, install an app on your phone that automatically saves text messages to your Gmail. Maybe get a text message app that actually blocks the texts or hides them in a vault so you don't have to see them right away. And then when you're ready to deal with them, you can deal with them. And then lastly, record your phone conversations. Again, store it in Gmail or wherever else. Record your conversations so you can remember what was said. Write down some notes about it after the fact. Do not record your children with the other parent. You'll go to jail. And record your in-person conversations. Thank you very much. I'll see you on the next video.